Alright, as promised, here's making you a quick little video just on some of the basics, getting you started on Bowsaw. A lot of other people might give you a few other pointers. I'm really just doing this to get you started. Certainly not the best Bowsawer out there, so keep that in mind. Okay, now in terms of your feet, where you want to put your feet when you're cutting with a Bowsaw, I like to use a little bit of an open stance, sort of similar to crosscut, again, about the right distance back here. Where my back foot will basically be in line with the cut I'm going to make, and my left foot, my front foot, will be a little bit outside the log. That opens me up just a little bit and lets me run the saw in a nice straight line like I want. You can see also, probably in this shot pretty well, the way I'm using my legs to generate a lot of the power for my cut. And generally what you're going to see is your hips are going to come forward on your pull stroke. Your butt's going to go back on your push stroke. So you can kind of see how I'm using my legs there. Now in terms of the width of your stance, I guess maybe a little bit wider than shoulders. I guess I have my back foot just a bit further back than my back shoulder, and my front foot, as you can see, is a bit out in front of my chest here. So that you're going to find you're probably going to have to adjust a little bit based on how high the log is. You know, if the log's lower, you're probably going to want to get a little bit wider stance to get down to it so that you're still comfortable stretching out to cut. If the log's a little higher, you're probably going to have to stand up a little taller. But, you know, you can imagine to still saw up here and get that full range of motion. So that would be my guess in terms of what you want to do with your feet. Now, in terms of actually running your saw, I'll just finish up this cut with part of it. You basically, as you're starting out, you're going to want to run your saw basically flat. Try to maintain the same angle all the way through your cut, so you're using the whole saw all the time. One problem I sometimes have, something you might want to try to avoid, if you set up a little too far back from the log, you're going to end up heeling the saw like it was maybe more of a single buck, and you're only going to be cutting with near wood to you. As you get to the back of your saw, you start sawing like that. So another problem you can have if you do it too much is on the far part of your stroke, if you roll over, you might hang up. You're going to hook rakers in that corner that you make there. So when you're starting out, but for starting out, I would recommend trying to keep the same angle all the way through your cut. And what that's going to mean is, as you get cut down through the log, you are going to want to drop down, get your hips lower by bending at the knees. For holding your saw and all that, just backhand, you just want to grab close to the blade here. Top hand, you want to get pretty close to this corner. If you get too far out on the frame, you won't be able to stretch out. You won't be able to use your whole saw. If you get too far back here, you aren't going to be able to, one, control the saw very well. The primary function of this hand is to get up here, keep the saw from wobbling back and forth this way, and to really pull down on the saw to keep it down in the wood, get some down pressure to really cut. Another thing in terms of the grip you want to use, you want to be careful when you grab the frame not to get your thumb around it. It might feel like a nice secure grab, but what's going to happen as you come through and finish your cut, you're going to smash your thumb on the log. Hurt like the dickens, break it pretty easily. So when you grab the frame, I think just about everyone I've ever seen uses a belt like this. Just get your thumb right up on top like that. You still got plenty of power back and forth. Still easy to control the saw back and forth this way, and still really easy to horse down on it. So you'll do just fine, thumb up on top like that. So I'm in about the spot I want to be here. Now for these practice blades, they need just a little bit of a starter cut for me, otherwise I ping them or something. And so again, remember, get your hand about here, keep your saw moving back nice and straight, use your legs. Alright Kevin, so I'm out of Bowsaw wood. Obviously it's nice out today, so I thought I'd just give you a quick finish up to the video. Things you want to remember just while you're learning to bow saw. Remember to use your legs for power. Make sure you're running your saw nice and flat. Keep the same angle through the cut. Make sure you're using the whole bow saw blade. And make sure you tuck in the front of your shirt. I've cut the pockets off a whole bunch of sweatshirts. So good luck getting started with this. And feel free to continue to ask myself or anyone else on the site questions if you have any.